Hi guys. Okay, so this is just a quick clip to show you about skewness. I'm not actually going to take you through a question either today, because the idea of skew is pretty straightforward really. I don't think it's too difficult. It's really about whether the data is bunched up at the start of the distribution, bunched up at the end, or pretty much clustering around the middle. Now, I'd like you to divide your page up into three, because it actually makes it a lot easier to do, to take notes on skew. And I'm just going to draw you a histogram of some data which is positively skewed. This is positive skew. And over here is going to be negative skew. Okay, for data which is positively skewed, you're going to have it all bunched up at the start. So you're going to have it something like this. That's what a histogram would look like of this data. And then you'll have less and less and less. You still might have some entries down there, but it's going to be a general shape like that. For negative skew, it's going to be bunched up towards the end. So it's going to be pretty much like the mirror image of the histogram I just drew. This is a histogram to show the distribution. That would be negative skew. For symmetrical skew, which is right in the middle, that's where you have pretty much, as the title implies, a symmetrical skew to the distribution. We normally find most things cluster towards the middle because of a very important idea which we meet in the last chapter called the normal distribution. So this is going to look something like that on a histogram. Okay, we call that symmetrical skew. Okay, right, so that's what the basic skews look like on a histogram. What would they look like on a box plot? Well, quite simple really. On a box plot, the main thing is that the median is going to lie closer to the lower quartile for positive skew, but the median is going to lie closer to the upper quartile for a negative skew. You're also more likely to get this more squished up and this more stretched, and really, this could be a lot more stretched, but the main thing is that the median is closer to the lower quartile for positive skew and the median is closer to the upper quartile for negative skew. For symmetrical skew, naturally we'll have a symmetrical box plot, something like that, with the median right slap bang in the middle. Okay, from this I can immediately see actually that Q2 minus Q1, in other words this gap, is less than Q3 minus Q2, in other words that gap. It's going to be the opposite here. Q3 minus Q2 here, this gap, is going to be less than Q2 minus Q1, that gap there. And for the symmetrical, Q3 minus Q2 is going to be roughly equal to Q2 minus Q1. For perfect symmetry it will be exactly equal, but that's pretty unlikely, to be honest, in any kind of distribution. Now we also have a rule for determining skew with the mean, median and mode. Now the way I remember this is I write down mean, median and mode in alphabetical order. Mean, median and mode. Always in alphabetical order. Notice that is in alphabetical order. Yeah. Now, for positive skew, well, I think negative sounds like less than and positive sounds like greater than, because negative is less and positive is more. So this will be less than for the negative skew and greater than for the positive skew. Hope that makes sense. Also it will be equal. Messed up. Sorry about that. Just to keep the pattern there. Those essentially are the rules of skew. I hope they make sense. Quite often they ask you to justify why a distribution has a certain skew. It's normally very easy to see why it's got a certain skew because of the diagrams you've already drawn. But if you've got to justify it, they normally want a statement like that, or occasionally a statement like that. So be wary of that. Right, I think you can really get on with the questions now. Now what I want you to look at is... Where's my textbook gone? Aha. I'd like you to look in chapter 4, and I'd like you to turn to page 71. And could you do question 2 from 4F? And could you also look at page 72 and do questions 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4. If you manage to finish all of that, then you can start the homework. I don't mind that at all. The last thing I want to say is, could you thank whoever's covering the lesson, because it's very kind of them to do that. Okay, enjoy, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.